Kyle here from All Media Reviews. It's been a long time, been a little while. I filmed a couple of videos that weren't the best, but so I'm gonna try to do. I'd like to do more than one video because I have a bunch of records and stuff that I bought. Joyce's friend Shane had come in last weekend. We went to a bunch of record stores and I got some stuff in the mail. And but today's video, this first video at least, if I have time to do more than one, is about a couple of shows. I went to three shows. Again, there's stuff to show for that, but the first being the Purple Rain Prince musical that is ongoing. There's going to be performances for like a month, almost a month. It started like a little over a week ago, like the 24th, I think. It's through like around Thanksgiving, and it's a preview for Broadway. But the long story as short as possible with myself and Joyce, my my brother and sister-in-law gave that us tickets for this like a year ago. It's like a Hanukkah gift, I thought. Yeah, it was probably a Hanukkah. I don't. All I know is it was supposed to be in April, and then they announced it a little while before that, but I due to different factors they pushed it back to this fall. They had to get casting corrected and a lot of the choreography and maybe the music specifically, the preparation, all that stuff. So it ended up finally showing this fall, and it's gonna presumably end up on Broadway. Um, and so I went today with my brother and sister-in-law. It was going to be Joyce and I, of course, um, but of course, obviously, she didn't go. And it was going to be actually her friend Sandra, but unfortunately, Sandra's not doing the best, so she wasn't able to go. So my friend John went. So it was basically a full house. Um, and the show went about 2.5 hours. There was an intermission of like 15 or 20 minutes. Um, I mean, there's a lot of good things about it. The performances are really good. The the actor performer that plays the kid, because it is basically it is taking, it's Purple Rain, so the movie, the film, but it's sort of, it's definitely sort of a little bit of a reimagining of sorts in some ways. Um, that was Purple Rain came out in 1984. It was June of '84, I think. So it would have been whatever 41 years ago. I think that's what maybe the intention was. It was good. I don't know, but this is the guy who directed it. I think is the director Charles P. Way. Maybe I think. Um, Role of ensemble played by Charles P. Way. And maybe this is one of the actors. I don't think he played, the kid that Prince played. Who's who in the cat? I didn't page through this. Um, let's see. And it's a long cast. Maybe I'll post it in the description or something like that. Because a lot of these names are producers and stuff I'm looking at right now. So, oh, okay, I'm on the probably not the right page. Yeah, they had okay. Then they have photos and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't have time to like flip through and come up with. I know that it was my what was my Chris Collins. I think maybe he's the one who plays the kid Prince's role. You think they would actually show it? I mean, here's Jared Howelton played Morris Day or Morris, um, and Rachel Webb plays Apollonia. So you can see that. But anyway, um, I mean, they played a lot of I mean, most of the music was performed by them. They had the whole setup with the drum, the bass, the keyboards, many dancers and everything like that. It was 2.5 hours. They did all the songs from the soundtrack plus some others. They did do a little like a little nod to certain songs, like "The Look," um, and like Sheila E.'s, or Sheena Easton's, not Strut. Shoot, I can't remember the name of the song. it was definitely a song that Sheena Easton, who had a relationship with Prince. I don't know if he co-wrote. He co-wrote it. Nothing Compares to You was done, and I mean, because of course Prince wrote that, and Sinead O'Connor made it famous later. Well after Purple Rain, of course. I think it was actually written after Purple Rain. Um, but I mean, the thing is, yeah, it went 2.5 hours. They definitely featured the Apollonia character slightly more than in the movie. I mean, she plays a pretty reasonable role in the movie, but expanded upon. They did like interviews and stuff, like digital, like a lot of it was filmed, and then some of it was done on the like during the process, like interviews with the people, the characters. They weren't real interviews; they were interviews. Someone filming for some kind of like report, like a TV station. I mean, it felt like even like what happens to Apollonia felt modernized to some degree, but anyway. I think it needs to be still tweaked a bit, but I mean the guy who played Prince, this Chris Collins, Kate with a K, he has the voice down pretty damn well. And a lot of the mannerisms and the personality and everything that played the kid. The guy who played Morris pretty much got Morris down pretty well, and Morris's assistant, his name. And the manager at the club. I mean, some of them visually are different looking. One of the biggest things that it probably isn't a big deal. It's a little bit like Sacha Baron Cohen playing Freddie Mercury, which didn't happen. But of course, Prince was like, because I met Prince in person back in 2009. He was like 5'1", 5'2". He's a short guy. He was a short guy. And Morris Day is, I don't know how tall he is. He's like 5'9", 5'10". He's not like super tall, but he's much taller than Prince. The two actors were basically the same height. In fact, I think the guy who played the kid, Prince, was known as Rogers in there. Might have been a little taller, but yeah, I mean the music, of course, thinking about Joyce, and while she wasn't like Prince wasn't the very top of her list, she was still a pretty big fan. And I think I want to like write in the Substack showing some of those photos. They're on our Facebook, but like when Prince passed away, remembering some of that stuff was hitting me a little bit today. The music itself, not so much, other than a couple songs. Take Me With You. They did do Computer Blue, a little bit of that. Um, and I Would Die for You. Oddly enough, Purple Rain didn't quite hit me as much. I don't think it was a favorite of hers either, even though it's a favorite and it's probably Prince's, to this day, maybe his most well-known song. When Doves Cry, they did, but it was like a little more stripped down when he was writing it and stuff. I mean, so it was like it was an interpretation. It's like a work in progress interpretation. What it ends up, how it ends up being done when it ends up on Broadway, assuming that's where it's going to be, will probably be slightly modified from the way they did it. But yeah, I mean, it did hit me somewhat today. Joyce's appreciation for, I'm wearing her hoodie that she got it at all places. I think it was Target. She wore it at Record Store Day in 2018. Um, but so I'll move on to a couple of the other concerts that I saw. I saw Lehto and Wright do their album release show, and I don't have it. It's over there, but I'm gonna show. It's on. It came out on vinyl. That was on Thursday. Um, what's it called? I got it on vinyl and on CD. Now Be Thankful. And I sorry for the lighting. Hope the lighting's not too poor. I'm a big fan of Lehto and Wright. It's sort of progressive Celtic folk rock of sorts. They've been around since the year 2000. This is like their 11th album or something like that, 11th or 12th. There's one track that's like 12 minutes. My cat still impacting my ability to make videos here. But yeah, I mean, I'll be thankful they did the second part of it, and I'll do a vinyl video and show it. But I haven't listened to it since the show on Thursday. But they did most of it. They did some of the children's songs. That was It's at this theater in White Bear Lake, this really nice theater, which is a place I'd never been to before. Hanfill or something like that. Which is Hanfill was the name of like the actual like building, but why don't you come up here so I don't need to worry about you, little kitty? Um, but yeah, I mean, new albums and stuff like that. The first album since 2019's Curios. Um, but for people that like, you know, folk rock, I guess you could say modern folk rock with progressive tendencies, um, vocal harmonies and everything like that. They're great. Later on, I've talked about them, you know, several times, but they're a local band in Minnesota, so I have a little bit of bias. But John Wright, of course, is also in the band the Galactic Cowboy Orchestra. He played with Garrick Harrigas in bands like Product and Us back in the '90s. But um, I kind of feel like Lehto and Wright is my favorite thing he's done. Well, I mean, specifically Children's Songs, the album from 2010, that album especially. It's a just special record. It's Prague epic suite, the title piece that was a Chick Corea piece, but they expanded upon it, and a couple of the other ones, Betsy Bell and Mary Gray. But this new album is not as epic as that, but it's got two sides to it. It's like one side is two longer pieces and one side's shorter. I think there's a few standards on there. They tend to do that. They'll cover a couple songs on a lot of records they do. So even got a new T-shirt from them. So and the third show that was last Thursday. And the third show is a week ago Sunday. I saw the George Michael tribute, um, which that was another one that I had bought before Joyce passed away, and we were planning on going to. So I figured when she passed away, I still wanted to go to those shows to sort of honor her memory and feel like I'm doing stuff that we would have done together. That one was, even though it was just a tribute, and Joyce, I think she would have had less issue with, even though technically the Prince musical is sort of a tribute. It's not the people, but um, yeah, she wasn't crazy about tributes, but she was maybe warming up to them, and like because that same, the life of George Michael, I believe it was called, was here like last year, and she didn't want to go. I think it was 2024. It's a relatively new tribute, um, but she probably would have. But it was not easy for me to listen to those songs. I had them in my head for a few days. Still kind of have been songs like "Careless Whisper" and "Everything She Wants," which is her favorite song of all time. A couple of the others that were just "Last Christmas." Um, and yeah, it was tough. I don't know. On the like, I went to a karaoke thing at my synagogue last night. There's this group that's called that does rock. It's all into rock music. That's part of that. This happened to be part of my synagogue. Um, and I was thinking about doing a George Michael song or a Wham song, and I didn't. But so I was just thinking about it. I was going into tears a little bit, but yeah, it was good. I mean, they had two different singers that portrayed George Michael. You're problematic and you need to calm down. I know I've been gone all day. Um, they did basically every hit song that George Michael and Wham got known for. Then they did a bunch of the duets and a couple of the covers, like "Somebody Love" from Queen. And I wrote about this in the blog and on the Substack too already. But I don't know. It's tough trying to figure out music and her music because like even on Casey Kasem today, it wasn't well. They played Hall and Oates is Out of Touch, which is a great. I don't think of Joyce necessarily fully, but I think to some degree. And they actually played Let's Go Crazy and Purple Rain. Oddly enough, it's weird how that happens. And again, these coincidences, it just happened. It was whatever November of '84 they were doing. In fact, the day that I saw the Purple Rain musical, but um yeah, I mean they covered the gamut, and the one guy looked a little bit like a more buff version of Timberlake. The other guy who portrayed George Michael looked like the older George Michael with the the glasses and the goatee and all this stuff. But I don't know. I kind of think Joyce might have appreciated. She probably would have been in tears herself just because George Michael, you know, meant so much to her, and losing him was a really difficult thing for her back in 2016, that Christmas Day. And this would have been the first time she would have seen his music. She saw him in 2008 at the Xcel Energy Center with a bunch of her friends, and that actually show a lot of them. A lot of the clips are on YouTube. But yeah, I had like seven. I was counting 7 songs. I was just being crushed by. Yeah, and even today I felt bad because like this weekend I go to the cemetery to visit her once a week. I try to, and for the last 2 months and change at least, I've done that every week. Either on it's it's been mostly Sundays over the last like 6 weeks. It was Saturdays for a little while, but I didn't get there today, partly because I didn't consider the whole daylight savings time, and I was thinking I didn't realize the Prince musical, this thing was gonna go um as late as it did. I didn't even talk about some of the things with that, but it went 2.5 hours. There was an intermission. I think I mentioned that. Morris, the Morris character had this song. He was sitting in this um trash bin. I think that there is a scene in Purple Rain. I've seen Purple Rain. I don't know. I saw it like a year after Prince passed away at the Fitzgerald Theater. They did a special screen with like a tribute band before that, or a band doing a tribute to Prince. And I'd seen it probably years before that, at least once or twice, but I think there is a scene where he gets thrown in the trash. But anyway, um, but they had like a whole, um, not an exhibit, but like kind of was like something like the History Center would have Minnesota History Center would have done, where they had, I got a bunch of photos on my phone, a whole history of Prince and like newspaper blown up in the hallway. The problem is we got down there and there was a massive line and we were up against the clock. I guess if I had known that was there, I would have. I mean, I think you can probably still go down there. While the thing's there, you can just go down to that building that the State Theater is in. That's where I was at the State Theater, and still check that out. And that might be worth trying to do before it's gone, because it was like, I don't know. It was. Oh yeah, and like on stage, they showed some of the records he was listening. One of them was Talking Book from Stevie Wonder, but on the actual in the Purple Rain, showing when they first introduced, they show his place, show where the kid lives and everything. But yeah, I didn't get to the cemetery today. Felt really bad about that, but because the sun sets now at like 5 o'clock, so I was giving John a ride home and everything. He lives way out west from here, but no, but that's, I mean, it's been a while since I've done one of these videos. I've been doing a lot of stuff, going to a synagogue, meeting with some groups. There's some widows. I'm talking widowers and talking to. Going to the library a little bit more. I'm still reading. I haven't even done a video since I finished Spectators, which was really good. I just hope that there's more to it. But the Brian K. Vaughan book. Now I'm getting into I have it right over here, I think. Did I put it in here? Yeah. I'm like halfway through the book that one of my friends was recommending, the Joan Didion, The Year of Magical Thinking, the grief book. But Joan Didion's not around. There's actually a documentary about her from like 2017 on Netflix that I want to watch. But Paper Girls, I'm like, I don't know, like a quarter through it maybe. I'm not to the point where it's where after where they left the TV series, but there's differences in this from the TV series. But yeah, sort of transitioning some of my reading. I mean, listening to music again, the Lehto Wright album. There's other albums coming up this week. The album that comes out this week, Midlake, maybe. There's a Midlake album coming out. There's going to be an album from this band called Ebb next year, and there's a Carnival record, which I got a vinyl from them to talk about. There's a new Carnival record coming out in February that was announced a few weeks ago. First one in it'll be 13 years. There's the Moron Police. Pachinko comes out around Thanksgiving. They put out another video today. Um, I was gonna try to get Biffy Clyro tickets. Of course, Mike Vennard from Ocean Size and Solo Band and a lot of the other stuff he's done. Um, the name of the Carnival record though is uh, In Verses. It's coming out February 6th. Archive has Glass Mines on February 27th of next year too. Um, those are the two main new releases that are confirmed for 2026. But let's see, like Mid-Lake, A Bridge Too Far comes out on the 7th on Friday. Um, and then More Unpleased Pachinko comes on the 20th. I haven't listened to because I just haven't been listening to music much. Like the Besnar Lakes and the Antlers had records that came out, and then uh, what's the other one that under really my wheelhouse? It was, but Big Wreck had an album called The Rest of the Story, which the reviews have not been, the comments haven't been all that supportive. But I didn't even listen to the Biffy Clyro album Foutique. And Paul Meany of Mute Math, that Forever Phase record came out on the 24th of September. That was my anniversary. I listened to some of the singles. I thought they were okay, but I don't know. It's unfortunate. Kind of it sounds like Changes almost like, or not Changes, Vitals, more electronic than even the last Mute Math album. But I don't know. I need to maybe spend more time with it, but I don't know when I will. I'm trying to get past. I'm trying to like listen to music and follow music, but it's just been like listening to the radio. I can do that. Did some karaoke. I did a Jellyfish song for karaoke the other night, which was kind of neat. But nobody knew it, of course. No one that was there to do the other people doing the karaoke. But of course, Black Friday Record Store Days comes out. There's the D-Light thing and a Prince thing, the D-Light compilation that I'm buying records for Joyce, even though the record collection is going to be given to her friend Michael. But um, I I feel like I might keep some of them, maybe, even though a lot of her records are going to go to her friend Michael. And again, I mean, I feel like a broken record not being able to do this stuff, but progress is being made. But I mean, I'm one of these days I might just take all the stuff in that record room and move it around so I can start using that room, but in due time. Um, so yeah, there's this other book that a friend of mine, my friend John, gave me. This guy from the '80s. It's called Bus 9 to Paradise, A Loving Voyage by Leo Buscaglia. I think it was written sometime in the late 80s, but all this weird stuff happens to him, and he's kind of hard to understand it. Uh, shows us that an earthly paradise is not far off, impossible destination. Uh, Leo reminds us that life is short, that each of us is responsible for creating our own paradise, that the time to start the voyage is now. I don't know. Um, it's interesting that to read this, but it's going to be sort of a perspective because there he is. Obviously, if this is written when it was, you know, things were different then in the '80s. So, but I'll see. I don't know. Some novels don't really. I'm not saying they're timeless, but to understand, they're written so well, it doesn't matter so much. It's like anything I'm writing could be read, decades from now, maybe it'd still have some value. But no, I that Biffy Clyro show, I didn't even elaborate on that, but I was gonna try getting tickets. They're playing at the Fine Line, and I want to get a seat because I struggle to stand for long periods of time because of my back. Um, but there's only limited. There's tables up in the upstairs where you can watch from. There's a limited number of seats up there, and I had the pre-sale code and everything. It would not let me buy one ticket at a time. That stupid on Axis.com. I should have just bought the second ticket and tried to sell it or something. I don't know. But I mean, I like Biffy Clyro. I haven't their previous record. I did like a fair amount. But the new record has been not been. I mean, I've seen mixed reviews. Some people said it's really catchy, but I might try buying a general admissions ticket and then going up to see if there's an empty seat up there or something like that. But I don't know. It's in a few. It's in like that's like December 10th or something. So, but there's not a lot of concerts necessarily lined up, but it's not the end of the world. the Monkey Men Monkeys tribute, which again I talked about Joyce. We did go to a Monkeys tribute many years ago at Barely Brothers. Some band did that, but she generally wasn't that into tributes. Although we did the Purple Rain thing, that movie, the band that opened for that too. So not like she never saw tribute bands, but they're based on the West Coast, and they never had come toured until this fall. They played in Decatur, Illinois, and St. Charles, and a couple other locations, and now they're confirmed to play in January in Oshkosh, of all places, where our friend Shane's from. And they booked a show in Boston, I guess. So I sent them an email, and also sent the Parkway Theater, because Parkway Theater might be the right size for what they do, the Monkey Men. But they recreate the early Monkeys. They dress the part. The guys look relatively like them, and it'd be neat to go see them. So if they came here, I don't know. They're actually coming to Oshkosh, Wisconsin on January 25th, which is the anniversary I concluded, estimated, of the 15th anniversary of when I met Joyce at KFAI Radio. So I'm planning to do some kind of celebration there, and then a radio show that night, maybe, um, 2 a.m. the next morning, really, 5 a.m. So I won't be traveling to Oshkosh. I don't think I would be traveling if that wasn't it, because it's January 25th, and this is the the part of the country. But there might be a chance for them to come play a show, have their tour come here around that time, maybe a few days before, a few days after. I don't know. It doesn't hurt to ask, to suggest, or whatever. So, um, guys, it's just been so I've been doing a lot of stuff recently, though. I haven't really talked about or whatever, but stuff with the blog, movies. I want to see that movie with Emma Stone, I think, Bukagli or something like that, or where she gets like kidnapped by these guys who think she's an alien. Emma Stone movie, um, Hugonia, with Jesse Plemons, and I don't know. It's kind of sci-fi. So there's also like a couple of things. Of course, there's TV that are coming up. The Pluribus, the Vince Gilligan show, premieres this week on Apple TV, which I might be able to watch. Um, there's a documentary on Eddie Murphy that comes out this week. There's a thing at Starbucks, Hello Kitty wise. I want to get, again. I'm kind of doing what my wife would want, special plushie and everything else. Um, and there's a couple of movies coming out. Zootopia 2, I'm gonna probably end up seeing, but there's other stuff, like I want to say there's another TV show coming out. I mean, there's Stranger Things that's coming up. That's coming out around Thanksgiving. So that and Zootopia, the final season, the first part. There's gonna be 3 parts. It's gonna be like a marathon of Stranger Things for like 6 weeks. Um, but I'll try to do a video on the vinyl I got, maybe now, or maybe in a few days. Um, but yeah, I didn't really do an official review of Spectators. I should go get it. Problem with some of the artwork is a little bit, to show. I got to be careful on that. I don't know if YouTube would get me, but yeah, that's what I can think of. I mean, it's been tough. I had the 3 month anniversary of her passing last week on the 22nd, or was it like a week and change ago? Was it really? Yeah, because now we're on November. It's a little over a week ago. And then Halloween was not easy. These holidays are going to be part of that. That's why I'm really hoping to get in touch with some other widows, because they know what I'm going through to some degree. It doesn't seem real still. Trying to, you know, trying to just cope with everything and move on with life and take care of a lot of her stuff. All the stuff that's here that reminds me of her. Yeah, I was listening to Yacht Rock earlier, and they played um, Magic by Pilot. And well, I don't think that was a favorite song of hers. It made me think of the 70s and being a kid, and I remembered her being a little kid, like she was probably a little kid. It's like me, and that song would have been on. And then they played the Arthur's theme, which they play frequently, and that was been on Casey Kasem too, which is a song that she liked from Christopher Cross. Although I think she probably liked Ride Like the Wind a little more, but um, I don't know. Music is it's tough. It's George Michael thing alone was. I felt like I got beaten down, but I hope it gets easier at some point. Anyway, I'm gonna try to do the vinyl video soon. So, but thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.